Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2,000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Filipino ebook before it's gone.
Kamusta kayo? Ako si Erica. Hi everybody, I'm Erica. Welcome to FilipinoPod101.com's Filipino sa 3 minuto. The fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Filipino. In the last lesson, we learned quite a few phrases used when apologizing in Filipino. In this lesson, we are going to learn numbers in Filipino. That's right, numbers, mga numero. And you are going to learn them in only 3 minutes, 3 minuto. Are you ready? Let's start. Isa. Isa. Dalawa. Dalawa. Tatlo. Tatlo. Apat. Apat. Lima. Lima. Anim. Anim. Pito. Pito. Walo. Walo. Siyam. Siyam. Sampu. Sampu. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. Isa. Dalawa. Tatlo. Apat. Lima. Anim. Pito. Walo. Siyam. Sampu. Great job! Try to remember these numbers by heart because you'll see them again in bigger numbers. Do you know what is before isa? Here's a clue. It's almost the same as in English. It's zero. Zero. Now let's continue from 11. Labing isa. Labing isa. Labindalawa. Labindalawa. Labintatlo. Labintatlo. Labing apat. Labing apat. Labinlima. Labinlima. Labing anim. Labing anim. Labimpito. Labimpito. Labing walo. Labing walo. Labinsyam. Labinsyam. These numbers may seem longer and harder to remember, but they basically follow a simple rule, which is labi plus connector plus the numbers 1 to 9. In Filipino, the connector is usually NA if the letter before it is a consonant, and NG if the letter before it is a vowel. In this case, since labi ends with I, then we'll be using the NG connector. However, NG sometimes changes its form depending on the letter that follows it. For the letters D, L, R, S, and T, the G from NG is dropped to make it easier to pronounce. Labindalawa, labintatlo, labinlima, and labinsyam. If a P follows the NG connector, the NG becomes an M, just like in labimpito. Now it's time for Erica's tips. Filipinos don't exclusively use the Filipino way of counting. As I've said before, English is commonly used in the Philippines, so it is very common for us to count in English as well. But that's not all. Sometimes, we even use the Spanish way of counting, especially when telling the time. Now you know how to count up to labinsyam. But why stop there? Next time, we'll learn more about numbers. Do you know the Filipino word for 100? Find out in the next Filipino sa 3 minuto lesson. Hanggang sa muli!
Learning to carry a conversation is vital to mastery of any language. Even beginners can quickly learn conversational language well enough to carry on real conversations with native speakers. Of course, beginners won't be able to carry a conversation the same way they could in their native language. But just knowing a few tips, like which questions to ask to keep a conversation going, are all you need to speak and interact with real native speakers. Before we get to specific suggestions, let's first take a closer look at how having real conversations in your target language is so vital to your mastery of the language. Communicating with other people is the very point of language, and conversation comes easily in our native tongue. For beginners, or anyone learning a new language, conversations aren't easy at all, and even simple greetings can be intimidating and awkward. Nothing kills a conversation faster than long periods of awkward silence, so you need practice and specific strategies to avoid them. When you know what to say to keep a conversation going, communication becomes much easier, and you make a better impression on your listener. Nothing will help you learn to speak a language faster and truly master the language than having real conversations with native speakers. Conversations quickly expose you to slang, cultural expressions, and vocabulary that force you to absorb and assimilate information faster than any educational setting. And that's a great thing. But how can you possibly have real conversations with real people if you're just starting out? Here are 3 proven methods that even beginners can quickly use to learn conversational language to make a great impression and avoid awkward silences. First, ask questions to keep a conversation going. For beginners and even more advanced speakers, the key is to ask questions to keep a conversation going. Of course, they can't be just random questions, or else you may confuse the listener. But by memorizing a few key questions and the appropriate time to use them, you can easily carry a conversation with minimal vocabulary or experience. And remember, the more conversations you have, the quicker you will learn and master the language. Second, learn core vocabulary terms as quickly as possible. You don't need to memorize thousands of words to learn conversational language. In fact, with just a couple hundred words, you could have a very basic conversation. And by learning maybe 1,000 to 2,000 words, you could carry a conversation with a native speaker about current events, order in restaurants, and even get directions. To help you get started with this, check out our 2,000 common words, also known as our core list. These 2,000 words are all you need to learn to speak fluently and carry a conversation with a native speaker. Third, study video or audio lessons that you can play and replay again and again. If you want to know how to carry on a conversation, then you need exposure to native speakers, and the more, the better. Studying video or audio lessons is ideal because they provide contextualized learning in your native language, and you can play them again and again until you achieve mastery. Our instructors have created more than 2,500 video and audio lessons that you can play over and over. And the best part is, they don't just teach you vocabulary and grammar. They are designed to help you learn to speak and teach you practical everyday topics like shopping, ordering, and more. Although it may seem intimidating for a beginner, the truth is that it's very easy to learn conversational language. Just learn a few core vocabulary terms and which questions to ask to keep a conversation going. Our language learning program has the world's largest online collection of video and audio lessons by real instructors, plus tons of advanced tools to help you learn to speak and carry on a conversation quickly. Just a little practice and exposure to real conversations or lessons is all it really takes. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Kamusta kayo? Ako si Erica. Hi everybody, I'm Erica. Welcome to FilipinoPod101.com's Filipino sa 3 minuto, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Filipino. In the last lesson, we learned the numbers from 1 to 19. Do you remember them? Well, let's not stop there. Now I'll give you the tens. 20, Dalawampu. Tatlumpu. Tatlumpu. Apat na po. Apat na po. Limampu. Limampu. Anim na po. Anim na po. Pitumpu. Pitumpu. Walumpu. Walumpu. Siyam na po. Siyam na po. Just like 11 to 19 from the last lesson, the tens also has a common formula. It is the numbers 1 to 9 plus connector plus pu. As I mentioned, the connector is usually NA if the letter before it is a consonant and NG if the letter before it is a vowel. I also mentioned that if a P follows the NG connector, then it becomes an M. Now here's one more thing. If the vowel before M is an O, then that also changes and becomes a U. Just like in tatlumpu, pitumpu, and so on. Finally, one last thing to note is that for the number 10, we say sampu and not isampu. Are you ready to try making compound numbers out of the numbers we've learned? I promise it's easier. How would you say 56 in Filipino? Let's take it step by step. 50 is limampu. Just add and, at, in its contracted form, and then 6, anim. So it will be limamput anim. Done. Isn't that easy? Let's try another number. For instance, 98. Take 90, siyamnapu, and add at in its contracted form, then 8, walo. Siyamnaput walo. Ready for more challenge? How do we say 100 in Filipino? It is isang daan. That is isa, which is 1, followed by the connector NG, then daan, which is 100. Now let's try counting up to 999. For compound numbers in the hundreds, the formula is numbers 1 to 9 plus connector plus daan plus numbers 20 to 99. For example, 169 is isang daan anim na putsyam. One thing to note is that daan becomes raan when the NA connector is used. For example, 492. Apat na raan siyam naput dalawa. For compound numbers with 1 to 19, you have to add an at after saying the 100. For example, 401 is apat na raan at isa. And now it's time for Erica's tips. Conjugation may be the trickiest part in learning Filipino, but it is done mostly to make sentences sound more natural and easier to pronounce. So don't worry if you can't nail it down yet. People will still understand you. Just keep practicing and you'll get the hang of it. Can you believe it? After only 2 lessons, you can now count up to 999 in Filipino. In the next lesson, we are going to put your number knowledge to use. Do you have all the skills you need to go shopping in the Philippines? Let's learn it together in the next Filipino sa 3 minuto lesson. Hanggang sa muli! Kamusta kayo? Ako si Erica. Hi everybody, I'm Erica. Welcome to FilipinoPod101.com's Filipino sa 3 minuto. The fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Filipino. In the previous lessons, we learned how to count in Filipino. I hope you spent some time practicing the numbers because they will come in handy today. We're going to learn how to go shopping in the Philippines. Before we go, you need to know how to say, how much is this? Magkano ito? Magkano ito? Are you ready to go shopping in the Philippines? Let's go! You see something you like and want to ask the shop clerk how much it costs. First, you might want to say either ate, older sister, or kuya, older brother. It's common in the Philippines to call a sales clerk ate or kuya to show respect to them. Ate, magkano ito? Kuya, magkano ito? Magkano means how much, and ito means this. To be more polite, you just add po to the phrase. Ate, magkano po ito? Kuya, magkano po ito? If you want to be more specific when asking, how much is this, and refer to a certain type of object, we need to add the connector ng to ito, and then the object that you want to buy. For example, a hat is sombrero. Ate, magkano po itong sombrero? Or, Kuya, magkano po itong sombrero? How much is this hat? Ate, magkano po itong sombrero? Kuya, magkano po itong sombrero? The shopkeeper will usually answer by simply saying the price. 100 piso po. Or even the price without the peso. 100 po. You might also hear them use the word lang, meaning only, or just, to imply that the price is cheap. For example, 100 piso lang po. 100 lang po. What is 100? I'm not telling you. Okay, it's 100. The hat costs 100 pesos. Now it's time for Erica's tips. It is common to haggle in Philippine bargain markets, so when buying, don't forget to say, may bawas pa po, meaning, is there a discount? Just remember, it's easier to get discounts if you're polite, so don't forget those pos. Happy shopping! At this point, can you count pesos in Filipino? We are going to learn how to do this and much more in the next lesson. I'll see you in the next Filipino sa 3 minuto lesson. Hanggang sa muli!
If you're tired of knowing and speaking the language at a basic level and want to express yourself fluently just like native speakers, then you'll need to learn grammar. The problem? It can be tricky to learn. But don't worry, in this guide you'll discover how to learn and master grammar with the Grammar Bank. 1. Where to get all of the grammar explanations you'll ever need. 2. The best way to learn grammar that's right for your level. And 3. How to expose yourself to real examples until the rules become natural to you with a study tool called the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But first, if you don't yet have access to our program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. First, what is the Grammar Bank? The Grammar Bank is like a grammar dictionary, except online. It's a database of the must-know grammar rules and explanations that makes it easy to look up specific rules and learn them. Look for it in the top menu of our site. 2. How do you learn grammar with it? The best way to learn grammar is not to just study rules, but to learn in context and hear the grammar used in real life. And that's exactly how you learn with our lessons. You learn a quick conversation and hear how the grammar rules are used within that conversation. 3. What if you come across grammar that you're not familiar with? Or what if you want to review a specific rule without going back to redo a lesson? That's where the Grammar Bank comes in. You can look up grammar rules and get the explanations, examples, and links to lessons where we cover these rules. You can also sort grammar by learning level. So if you're an absolute beginner and want to make sure you know all of the absolute beginner grammar rules, you can do just that with the Grammar Bank. You can also sort the rules by spelling, category, and lesson series. And if you want to get used to the grammar patterns so that you can use them in conversation and become fluent, the best way is to expose yourself to examples as much as possible. Grammar is hard at first, but gets easy once you get used to it with enough exposure. Be sure to access the related lessons inside the Grammar Bank and listen to the native conversations that use the rule as much as possible. So, if you want to become fluent and speak perfectly, you'll need grammar. Take advantage of the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up.
Kamusta kayo? Ako si Erica. Hi everybody, I'm Erica. Welcome to FilipinoPod101.com's Filipino sa 3 minuto, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Filipino. In the last lesson, we learned the most common greetings in Filipino. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we're going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? This phrase can be a lifesaver. The majority of Filipino people understand English. But if you ask in Filipino, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you're saying, even if their answer is no. Here's the informal way to ask it. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Let's break down the sentence. In Filipino, the verb can come before the subject. Nagsasalita means speaking, followed by ka, which means you. Next, there is ba, which is the question marking particle. After it comes nang, which acts as an object marking particle, marking Ingles, which, as you might have guessed, is English. Another common way to ask if someone can speak English is, marunong ka bang mag-Ingles? Literally, this means, can you do English? Marunong ka bang mag-Ingles? Now we're going to make these sentences formal. Filipinos follow the Spanish custom of changing a singular pronoun to plural in order to show respect in formal situations, so we change ka to kayo and then move it after ba. We also need to add po as a sign of respect. Everything else stays the same. Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Marunong po ba kayong mag-Ingles? Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Marunong po ba kayong mag-Ingles? If you want to be even more formal, you can add mawalang galang lang po before the sentence. It means, excuse me. Mawalang galang lang po. Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng Ingles? Excuse me, do you speak English? Mawalang galang lang po. Marunong po ba kayong mag-Ingles? Here are some common responses you might hear. Oo. Yes. Oo. Konti. A little. Konti. Hindi. No. Hindi. Now it's time for Erica's tips. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can use this question with any language you need. Just substitute Ingles with Espanol for Spanish, Hapon for Japanese, Italiano for Italian, Aleman for German, and so on. Now you know how to ask if people speak English or even your native language. But I hope this doesn't stop you from learning Filipino. We'll be learning more ways to say excuse me and I'm sorry in our next Filipino sa 3 minuto lesson. Hanggang sa muli!
Want to master grammar so you can speak properly, express yourself better, and understand more? In this video, I'll show you how to master grammar with our lessons and learning program. Let's begin. Number 1. Listen to the lesson conversations and explanations. In every lesson, you learn a conversation. Then, our teachers break down every word and grammar rule. So you're actually learning grammar rules in the context of conversations, and you can easily see how they're used. Once you're done, review the conversation again and again to remember what you've learned. Number 2. Read the bonus explanations and tutorials. With the lesson notes, you get extra grammar explanations and examples that are not presented in the lesson. After you're done with the lesson, read the lesson notes for extra review. You can even save them as PDFs so that you can access them anytime. Number 3. Leave a comment on the lesson. Once you've learned a grammar point, be sure to use it. Leave a comment in the comments section. Write some example sentences for practice. Our teachers will review your comment and give you feedback. Number 4. Unlock even more grammar lessons. If you want to find all of the grammar lessons available, visit our lesson library. Under Category, choose Grammar. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons dedicated to helping you learn and master sentence patterns and grammar points. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Kamusta kayo? Ako si Erica. Hi everybody, I'm Erica. Welcome to FilipinoPod101.com's Filipino sa 3 minuto. The fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Filipino. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase, mawalang galang lang po. Nagsasalita po ba kayo ng English? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the phrase, mawalang galang lang po, which means, excuse me, in formal Filipino. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use this and other words when apologizing in Filipino. We can use mawalang galang lang po when we need to stop someone to ask a question. It literally means just to be rude, but is used to mean excuse me. For example, mawalang galang lang po, nasaan po ang palengke? Excuse me, where is the market? Mawalang galang lang po, nasaan po ang palengke? There is another phrase we use to mean excuse me, and that is paumanhin po. However, paumanhin po is used when you have bothered someone and could also mean I'm sorry. Paumanhin po. We use mawalang galang lang po and paumanhin po exclusively for formal situations. For informal situations, Filipinos usually just say, excuse me. But if there is something you really want to apologize for, it might be better to use a different phrase. That phrase is, patawarin mo ako. It means, please forgive me, and is used in informal situations. Patawarin mo ako. In formal situations, we say, patawarin niyo po ako. Patawarin niyo po ako. Here we added po and turned the second person pronoun into plural. Another common phrase Filipinos use for apologizing is, pasensya na po kayo. Pasensya na po kayo. This phrase is usually heard from shopkeepers when apologizing to customers. It can be translated as, please be patient with us. Now it's time for Erica's tips. In the Philippines, it is normal to simply say, excuse me, or I'm sorry, since English is commonly used in conversation. You could also add po to these phrases to make them sound a bit more formal and sincere. Excuse me po, or excuse po, I'm sorry po, or sorry po. Are you able to count in Filipino? In the next lesson, we will learn the numbers in Filipino from 1 to 19. I'll be waiting for you in our next Filipino sa 3 minuto lesson. Hanggang sa muli!
Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Filipino ebook before it's gone.